expressed on the following broadcasts do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guest. Take 12 Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
When the static of life fills your brain and the world seems a little too insane, just twist that dial, don't hesitate. There's a haven where good vibes await. Tune in and Take 12 for some joy and cheer. It's the sound of hope coming in crystal clear. Recovery talk and music so grand, a beacon of light, a helping hand.
All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show, the world's oldest and original recovery talk and recovery music radio station and podcast.
We'll play your heartstrings.
Of course, what you're hearing now is the Take 12 Recovery Radio Make-Believe Orchestra. We've got some useless and mindless information for you. And two very special guests, and maybe three. We'll see if he shows up today. We're going to be talking about taking recovery to the park, taking it to the streets and to our community. All here on the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show. Our email address is take12radio@comcast.net. Comment on the show anytime you like. Send us your email. Love us, hate us, just talk to us. Welcome aboard. It's going to be a great show as we take recovery to the park.
Crystal clear. Recovery talk and music so grand, a beacon of light, a helping hand.
Yeah, we're blowing up stuff. Well, welcome aboard, each and every one of you. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching on our video feed, the two fine folks that are sitting in front of you, there is Cindy. Hi, Cindy.
Good morning.
Hi, Cindy. And there's Pastor Neil.
Hello, hello.
Now, Cindy, she has been extremely active in a ministry here locally, and we're going to be talking about that and how this whole recovery in the park thing happened and so forth. And Pastor Neil is, don't tell anybody, but he's my pastor. Pastor of the Shift Church, one of the pastors of the Shift Church here in Albany, Oregon, and we're going to be talking to him about kind of his take on recovery and the church and how can we work together and all that kind of stuff. But we got a little fun first of all, though, and so let's see here if Cecil's got this ready for us. There we go.
Time for some useless and mindless info. Facts that mean absolutely nothing, you know. So hold on tight, it's gonna be wild.
Yes,
a
sir.
total waste of time, like a playful child.
It's time for Take 12 Recovery Radio's useless and mindless information. Today is, now this is an actual registered holiday, guys. This is National Trim Your Neighbor's Toenails Day.
Wow. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, sounds like an awful thing to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to take part.
I mean,
We'll pass.
I'm just like,
I would like to know the story behind it.
I would too.
Yeah.
Who approves that? You know,
Yeah.
as far as like a holiday.
I don't even
There
like
must
to
have been
trim my
a
own.
need.
A need, yes, perhaps.
Yes, I get to go to. So one of the things I get to do as a, I don't know if you call me a former diabetic. I haven't been rated diabetic in a long time since they dropped the 80 pounds and my A1C is like 5.4 and stuff like that. So I guess you're not cured of it, but some say you don't have it anymore, whatever. But I still get to go to the diabetic foot clinic and get treated like royalty. You know what I mean? But these are professionals, and that's even a little hard for me to do. You know, you know what I'm saying? But I'm used to them. But I don't think I'd want my neighbor
Come over and clip the toenails.
My one neighbor can't even get their yard trimmed. So anyway, so here's some useless and mindless information. This is guaranteed to make you feel smarter, wiser, and just a better all-around person. Here we go. A woman in the United Kingdom once called the police because her ice cream didn't have enough sprinkles on it. Now, here's the thing that was really wild about this story is the ice cream vendor actually got cited for being skimpy.
Skimpy on the sprinkles.
Skimpy on the sprinkles.
That's a good use of resources.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
You guys played with Play-Doh when you were kids?
Sure.
Of course.
Yeah. You remember that smell that the Play-Doh had? Well, Hasbro Toys, who created Play-Doh, actually trademarked the odor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. See, aren't you feeling smarter already? Here's one. Now, listeners, believe me, we don't guarantee that any of these things are true. We're just passing it on to you. People who swear tend to be more, what do you think? Like lonely or
Angry.
angry.
Oh, I don't know. I kind of feel like it's like they're almost more like typical, likable. I don't know. It's the way I guess
Okay.
maybe the household I grew up in. There, I don't know.
You're getting close. According to a national study, whoever that is, when people say, "Well, you know what they say," who are they? Right? Who is that? People who swear tend to be more honest.
Well, my dad's always said that you can't trust a guy that doesn't cuss. So there you go.
Wow,
I grew up with that phrase. I really did.
Okay.
Oh,
Cindy, I don't think you agree with this.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I'm not necessarily saying it's biblical. I'm just saying it's what
I know, right. My grandfather, on my dad's side, my dad's dad, he owned a speakeasy in Stockton, California, and he would take my dad to work with him, and for a nickel, Dad could watch movies all day long, black and whites of it.
Yeah.
And downstairs was the speakeasy, and my grandpa, he had a mouth on him, and I mean it was hard to hear because it was.
is a lot.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. In the 1800s, dentures were made using teeth. Guess where? Guess what from?
Oh my gosh.
I'm afraid.
Just take a stab at it.
Goats?
Cadaver.
Cadavers.
say cadavers?
That could be goats, an animal.
Well, you're right. It is. It was the teeth of dead soldiers.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? Tug of war was an Olympic sport between 1900 and 1920. I'll give you one more. Lego bricks withstand compression better than concrete.
Oh my goodness.
I actually believe that.
Yeah, I do too.
I actually believe that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Step
kinda.
on one, you.
Oh.
Yeah, in your bare feet in the middle of the night. It's always fun.
Oh, I got to give you this one. Okay, you know what a jiffy is?
I think a peanut butter, but
Right? You ever heard somebody say they got that done in a jiffy?
oh yeah.
Yeah, I've always wondered what the jiffy is.
Yeah, it's 1/100th of a second.
Wow.
Yep. There you go.
So nobody got it done in a jiffy.
Nobody got it done in a jiffy. No. All right. That's it for useless and mindless information. And if you're feeling neighborly, go trim your neighbor's toenails. But stand at a distance when you offer to do that because they may come after you. Okay, we'll be right back with the topic taking recovery to the streets, community, and the park. Right after this.
Nonsense, it's a marvelous ride. A total waste of time. Come join the fun side.
Hey everybody, come celebrate with me and the incredible recovery community of Lynn County, Oregon as we gather together for the 11th annual Recovery in the Park. Tuesday, July 22nd from 5 to 8:30 p.m. at beautiful Bryant Park, Albany, Oregon. We're going to have live music, raffles, community resource fair, activities for the kids, and free burgers and dogs. So come on and celebrate with me and all my friends at this year's Recovery in the Park. Tuesday, July 22nd from 5 to 8:30 p.m. at beautiful Bryant Park, Albany, Oregon.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Woohoo!
Bullfrogs and butterflies, we've both been born again. I'm singing about bullfrogs and butterflies, we've both been born again. Come on, try it with me.
Barry McGuire here. You're listening to Take 12 Recovery Radio.
That's it. Come on. Bullfrogs and butterflies, we've both been born again.
All right, welcome back to the show. You've tuned into the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show. Hey, listen, you ever feel stuck in your recovery? I mean, you know, you just go to these meetings and drink bad coffee and listen to people whine about their day. And, you know, especially when you go to that one meeting, right? And they call on that one guy or gal and you're like, oh, no, not that guy. Not again. The guy's going to go on and on and on and on and on and on. We know the type, right? But, you know, you're feeling stuck. You just kind of feel stagnant, right? Well, I got a solution for you. It's called 12 Essential Insights for Emotional Sobriety by our good friend and Take 12 Recovery Radio contributor, Dr. Alan Berger, one of my mentors. I got to tell you, this little jewel has really enhanced my recovery, and I know it will yours too. The tagline is getting your recovery unstuck. We all get those dry spells. We all get that, you know, that weird. I mean, you get to where everything's kind of rote, you know, I mean, it's just kind of automatic. Sometimes we get that way with church. Sometimes we get that way if we're in a service organization like Rotary Club or Scouting or whatever. We can certainly get that way in our 12-step recovery fellowships as well. So if that is you, get your copy of this book. You can get it at abphd.com. Dr. Berger will sign it for you, or you can pick it up on Amazon as well. 12 Essential Insights for Emotional Sobriety, getting your recovery unstuck. All right. If you would like to sponsor Take 12 Recovery Radio, we are in real need of sponsors right now. Please contact us at take12radio@comcast.net, and we'll talk to you about how you can join the fun. All right. Taking recovery to the park, to the streets, to the community. The recovery community, the people in recovery, not many decades ago, were viewed as those folks, and sometimes still can be, which I think is too bad. Not just too bad. I think it's extremely sad, and I think we're missing out on rubbing shoulders with some amazing people. So when you take the substances that are being abused out of the picture, and you give a person an opportunity to maybe grow up, maybe to see clearly again, maybe to be able to be functional to the point where they're a productive member of society again, you find some of the most talented, loving, caring, compassionate people on the planet. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yes,
Absolutely.
100%.
It's amazing. It doesn't amaze me anymore when I'm sitting with somebody at a potluck or a barbecue or an event or something that maybe isn't recovery oriented, and somehow or another the topic comes up and they start sharing their story, and I'm like, wow, you don't look, act, or anything like the story you're talking about. Are you serious? Was this really you? And they'll say, yeah. You know, I've got so many years clean and sober today, and blah 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 blah. So I think when we realize that those people are us, which I think we can speak to today, Pastor Neil, because you talk about it all the time, about it, everybody's got something going on, right? Mm-hmm. But let's talk about this recovery in the park thing. There's a lot of inappropriate behavior in the park. Right?
Not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow. Not tomorrow. And so to take over a location like a large park like Bryant Park, and we're talking, listeners, for those of you who are not from the area, Bryant Park is a large park for a town like Albany. What do we got? We got 2, 3 baseball diamonds there.
Yeah, at least 2.
At least 2, right? And just a large, large area. To take over a park like Bryant Park with the healthy stuff that will be going on tomorrow at the event, the 2025 Recovery in the Park, it is something that has been going on now for 11 years. 11 years. Yes. And it has produced some amazing fruit. A lot of people have come out of this thing better for it. So, Cindy, I'm going to kind of let you share about this thing. Where did this thing start? Why did it start? And what's going on tomorrow?
Okay. So 11 years ago, Celebrate Recovery was meeting at Hope Church. And there's 1 week every summer where VBS takes over the church. We have hundreds of kids that come in for vacation Bible school. It's amazing. So they basically said, Celebrate Recovery can't be there that week. Can you just cancel? And that was a possibility. But they said, well, I think we'll just go to the park and we can have dinner there and we can have Celebrate Recovery there. It started as a relatively small group. And then every year it's grown and grown and grown a little bit more. So this, as you said, is the 11th annual. We have a free barbecue dinner, hot dogs, hamburgers, chips, bottled water. There'll be live music. There's about 40 different booths that will be there, our community partners, lots of different groups that will be there talking about their programs, talking about what's available in the community. We will also have lots of raffle prizes. There's a kids area with lots of activities for the kids. We have snow cones. Just really a fun time, but also an opportunity for people to see recovery's fun. Being in recovery can be really fun because it sounds like, oh, what do I have to give up? What do I have to stop doing? That may not be so fun. Oh, yeah, it can be really fun.
You betcha.
And this is a group that enjoys having a good time.
You know, Cindy, I have never met anyone that has regretted sobriety.
No.
I regret getting clean and sober.
I wish my life hadn't turned all the way around and gotten so much better. Right.
It's amazing. So, it started from a Celebrate Recovery platform.
Correct.
But it's really a community event now.
It is a family-friendly, community-wide event, and the entire community is welcome to come. I think people find out at this event and at Celebrate Recovery that you can recover from lots of things, not necessarily just drugs and alcohol. CR talks about hurts, habits, and hang-ups. We have people dealing with financial problems or gambling issues or relationship problems, childhood abuse, all the different things that happen in life. They can all be recovered from. You know, when you bring the Lord in and you reach out to Jesus, there's an opportunity to turn your life around no matter what may have happened to you earlier. Yeah.
Now, Celebrate Recovery makes no apologies for being a faith-based recovery program.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Yeah, we are a Christ-centered 12-step program.
Yeah. Which and listeners, whatever your history may be in the recovery world, I want to make a statement here because I want people to understand this, and of course people get tired of hearing me say this, but I'm going to do it again. In the 12 steps, when you get to step 3, it said we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. So looking at that, we have to look at who is the we. We have a tendency to think it's us. It actually wasn't. It's the founders that when this was written. We made a decision to turn our will. They're talking about the founders of Alcoholics Anonymous. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, they're turning their will and their lives over to the care of God as they understood Him. Who did they understand Him to be? And if you do your research, the founders understood him to be the God of the Bible.
Correct.
So if I want what they had, which was a success rate that was in the high 90s, which meant people stayed sober till they died, right? If you want what they had, you might want to do what they did.
Correct.
Doesn't mean you have to agree with that. It doesn't mean you have to. I mean, you can come to Celebrate Recovery. You can come to AA or NA or any of these groups. You don't have to believe anything.
Correct.
But if you want your life to change, I mean, for my money, I want to go with where it worked the best. What was most successful? If I'm going to go to a mechanic to fix my car, I want to go to the best guy, right? So I might want to do what they did, and that's what they did. And in Celebrate Recovery, it's there's an eagle eye focus on that,
Absolutely.
on the solution, right?
Yes.
Because if we understand the problem, but we don't have a solution, then we still have a problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So that's a big deal. But everybody's welcome. There's people that show up every year that don't have a relationship with the Creator,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And they leave with one every year.
Yes.
It turns
Yes.
out that way. Yeah,
It's a great opportunity to meet Christ. He will be in the park.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's really, really very, very, very cool. Speaking of cool, I think it's going to be cooler this year.
Thankfully, yes.
Yeah, there will be a mist. Is there a mist booth?
There'll be two.
Two mist booths.
Two mist stations.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So Bryant Park, please come out if you're in the area or you're traveling through the area. Come by, get a hot dog and a hamburger, and rub shoulders with some amazing folks. Pastor Neil. So how did this shift the church shift? And we got to do this real quick. Tell the listeners how that came to be, the name, the shift, because it's kind of an unusual name for a church, right?
Yeah. Well, so when I met Brad Duncan, he and I, along with our families, our wives, at the time we both had, like I had one baby and he had like two little kids.
Right.
That was 18 years ago. When we first moved out, the idea, he was from here, I was from Alabama, had planted a church there, done a lot with CR and all that. And so the idea was not necessarily to have a program of recovery, although there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I was a CR leader in Alabama, but was to really try to figure out how to be a church that had a paradigm shift in a sense of like that we were trying to be the church in the community, and trying to meet people where they were. Like, in fact, our old vision statement said that it was one hand to the gutter, one hand to the sky, and the gutter is anywhere the gospel isn't, meaning every single person can be in the gutter, spiritually speaking, in their life, whether or not they got a white collar job or they're, homeless over here with a needle in their arm. Like, it literally can be that both people are spiritually in the gutter and separated from God because of their lack of understanding of who Jesus is and their own sin. And so that the idea is a paradigm shift, and not just being a gathering, but being a movement. Now, it's hard not to still be a gathering and be a church.
Sure.
And that's one of the challenges. It's a really nice idea. I mean, it definitely is what the church is supposed to be, but you still find that you gather, you still find that you have things you have to figure out, you have budgets, you have all those things. 20-something-year-old me thought we'll never be that. And then eventually you have to be that because you have to like pay for a building or something. But anyway,
Right.
That's the idea. And I do think it's what we still are shooting for here is this idea of, well, really, I feel like a call of God. But I think the early church, because the word church is ecclesia. The word ecclesia is a gathering or a movement with purpose. It was a military term in large part. But the concept is that we're not a place, but a people. And we have a very specific mission. And if we understand the gospel, the story of the person and the work of Jesus, then every single human being that I come in contact with is either in one of two categories. Either they've understood their great need and that Christ has made the sacrificial, death in our place. He has sacrificed himself for our sin, and taken the wrath of God for us, or they haven't understood that. And so regardless of, socioeconomic status, race, drug of choice, whatever. I mean, like literally every single person has a great need, and there's genuinely a desire in us. In Romans 1, it says that we understand that there's a God and that we want to suppress that truth naturally. All of us do, every single person.
Yeah.
Now, how I suppress that truth and how I medicate and escape from life's pain may be different than you. It may be different than somebody else. But some of those ways of medicating and escaping can cost us more in this life.
Yeah.
But we all medicate and escape. Now, do we constantly bring that back to God and say, like, okay, I'm trying to medicate and escape? Maybe it's through watching too much Netflix. Maybe it's, a bottle of liquor. It could be a lot of things.
Sure.
But understanding that in Christ, we can find that solution. Now, still, as a believer, as a pastor, I'm still constantly trying to find something else other than him on a regular basis that I can tangibly, look at, grab a hold of, whatever. But because God has set up residence in my inner being, he's the one that points out to me like, hey, man, you're trying to do this because you're really not wanting to deal with you, or you're not wanting to deal with reality, or you're not wanting to trust me. So anyway, I'm rambling. It happens when you ask a preacher a question. The idea is that we would be a paradigm shift, a movement from the seats to the streets, and that every single person needs the same thing.
So you're kind of an odd duck in the sense of you are more transparent than a lot of pastors that I've met, some that I'm very good friends with. And what I'm saying is publicly, you have shared from the pulpit, some of your struggles.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't apologize for it, and you let people know, well, hey, I may have a little bit of an issue with this or that or whatever. Yeah. Have you found that has been helpful in your ministry?
Yeah, I mean, I think for most folks, and by that I mean, my wife has actually literally this morning just told me not to say it this way. So sometimes I'll say like church folk, and by that I gotta be really careful because the bride of Christ is the bride of Christ. I'm a part of it, and we all have our issues, right?
Yeah.
And there's hypocrisy everywhere. It's at Walmart, it's at church, it's literally anywhere you go. But sometimes I think we're all capable of this. I think about I'm trying to be succinct here. That's going to preach a question. The prodigal son. We all can be the older son and the younger son. And at times in our life, in my life, I've been more like the younger son. Even as a pastor, like in seasons of my life, I've gone too far into things. I've abused grace because I just wanted to feel different or wanted to whatever. But there's times in my life when I feel like I got my stuff together and I'm not really keeping my eyes on Jesus and being honest about the fact that I'm just a sinner saved by grace. I'm an adopted son. I'm valued. I'm loved because of what Jesus did, right?
Yeah.
But if I keep the gospel in proper perspective, I can't get too puffed up or too low. But when I don't keep it in proper perspective, I can be like the younger prodigal son that just burns it all down, right?
Yeah, sure.
Or I can be like the older. And I think sometimes in the church, and by that I don't just mean the shift or just any other church, but especially the Western church, because we have a lot of free time and a lot of comfort. We spend our time thinking about how other people maybe need to get their stuff together a little more.
Yes.
And I believe that's one of the biggest problems that we face at times. And like when I come across those people as a pastor and they maybe hear me cuss every now and then. Not that I'm trying to glorify it, but it's just but still a lot of it in there.
You've shared that
there's a lot of redneck in this guy.
You've shared that can be a little bit of an issue with you sometimes.
Yes. Or, just sharing stories of, doing things like, abusing something like alcohol or something at seasons and at places in my life, and realizing that it's me trying to replace the Holy Spirit's work. I want to control that. I want to feel this way. I want to, or not feel it.
Yeah,
sure. And confessing that to people, for the most part, the average person actually, I think, finds comfort in the fact that, that's a normal person.
Yeah.
Like God's given them something to do, but they're not different than me.
Yeah. So I'm going to say something here, and this is somebody's not going to like this, but I'm going to share it. So I was involved with somewhat with an organization called Alcoholics for Christ. This is years ago, and going to that meeting, and I kind of pulled back from the traditional 12-step rooms for a while. Mm-hmm. And so I went to this thing, right, week after week after week, and I ended up going to an AA meeting up in Sweet Home. And I am telling you, the language was rough. But I was sitting there and I was thinking, whew, thank God, somebody that's just being honest. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was more at home there than I was at this squeaky clean meeting over here. Mm. Now, am I out of line there? It is what's going on with that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, because it kind of concerned me. I was like, ooh, because then I started feeling bad for feeling like that. Mm-hmm. You know, what do you think, Cindy?
I think being honest at any level is so helpful. Yeah. And I think sometimes we forget that. It's one of the reasons I really enjoy doing newcomers once in a while, because there's somebody brand new that's very real about what's happening in their lives. Yeah. And it gives me hope. I like to see people that are ready to be honest, that are ready to talk about,
even if they're rough around the edges,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I've been known to say a thing or two that I would prefer not to. It happens, right? But it's the honesty that's so important, that we have to be real about what's happening in our lives if we want to change it. Mm-hmm. Yes. Right? If we want to get better. And I think that's what's so important. And sometimes, there's always a desire, I think, in every one of us to look good, right? I put on my look good. I really want to look good, right? And then sometimes it's like, well, so much is happening that I can't even put on my look good anymore. Yeah. I just can't bring that A game that I would like to bring. Right. And that's where you really meet people who are ready to make changes. And I think that's very important.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah. Well said. So, Pastor Neil, okay. So why Recovery in the Park? Why shifts the Shift Church's involvement with Recovery in the Park?
Yeah. Well, honestly, goodness gracious, it's hard to remember dates anymore. But I guess it was like 12 years ago or so, maybe a little more than that.
Yeah.
We started our downtown campus, and it primarily started with a group of folks that were in Oxford houses and things like that had started a Bible study, and then it just kind of exploded. And it got to be, there's a lot of people, is what I'm saying. And so they asked us if we would kind of be their covering. And because of my history with Celebrate Recovery and just desire, and really just I feel a very close connection with recovery community for lots of reasons. But I like the fact that it's very real. It's confessional. I think that's what the church should be. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of started being their, the downtown pastor. And a lot of these guys, like Butch and all them, were in and out of that. And then they started going to Hope, and they started being connected to Celebrate Recovery, which I was stoked about. Yeah. And to the point to where Celebrate Recovery got to where it was so big and meeting a lot of those needs of those people that we actually quit doing the downtown campus because, they were all going to CR. And I was like, hey, that's praise God.
Yeah.
But through all that, I just got to know a lot of these folks, Butch included. And so very close connections and all that, working with. We used to hang out down at Chance all the time, and even had a day of the week where I would just be there and could answer questions or, talk to folks, whatever. And so I guess that kind of was the beginning of it. But really, when I moved back to Alabama in 2016, just Dad had health problems. I was burnt out. I did some different stuff for a few years working outside of the church. And we moved back to be a part of the Shift again. I think it was 21, because I guess we didn't do 20, did we?
Right.
That Butch was like, hey, I want you to be a part of this. And I was like, okay, man. And I didn't really even know what I was
what you're getting into.
Typical Butch. He's like, yeah, just come and hang out. And,
So when we say
Yeah.
Butch, so the listeners know he's not here today.
Yeah.
He's got. So, keep him in your prayers, please, listeners. They're going through a rough time right now, but at the same time, he's suiting up and showing up, and he's out getting things ready for Recovery in the Park, which is tomorrow.
Yes,
Tomorrow,
yes, yes.
Tuesday, at Bryant Park. So that's who they're referring to. Butch and Jenny Weichel. Am I pronouncing it right?
You're correct.
Yeah. I've known Butch for years and years and years and years, helped sponsor him in his program, and just a heck of a guy. He doesn't stop.
No, he does not.
And
He does
I've
not
actually-
give up.
I've actually advised him, Butch, it's okay to stop. But he ain't gonna listen to me. So, which I have a lot of admiration for. So that's who we're talking about. But go ahead.
No, and
continue.
I mean, honestly, it's because of like seeing what all was going on at Recovery in the Park. I mean, it had started before we left for Alabama, but it was still not quite like when I moved back. I mean, it's so much larger. There's so much going on. And I watched the very small group of you guys just doing everything. And I started feeling like, really, one, I enjoyed it. One, I feel close connection. Like, I feel like that's more my tribe than most places I can be.
Sure.
And, I just feel like the Lord was like, hey, how can we get more involved? We were also going through a lot of change at the church, not just COVID and all that, because everybody had dealt with a lot through that. But Brad, founder, he and I are the founders. Like his wife had passed away. He had stepped down and moved. And so it was just a lot of transition. So it was kind of a slow start for us getting more involved with Recovery in the Park and recovery in general in our city. But that's something that I'd like to see us continue to grow in. But yeah, just saw the event and was like, yeah, dude, this is no brainer. We got to be more a part of this.
Yeah. So Recovery in the Park, for those of you who are listening now, if you're listening on Wednesday, it already happened. But
But it will happen again next year.
It'll happen again next year. The 11th annual Recovery in the Park at Bryant Park from
5
to
to 8:30.
Right. So not a big chunk of time, but enough time to rub shoulders with some folks and get some free food and just have a good time. Are you guys going to have the big giant bubble thingies again?
We are. Yep. The kids get inside and roll around.
Some of the
and
parents
so-
do too.
Yeah.
These are just giant bubbles that you climb in and you roll around and bounce into each other, and just a whole lot of fun going on. Live music and all sorts of information booths of service centers of different kinds, from Love Inc. To Jesus Pursuit will be there. I think probably Serenity Lane.
Serenity Lane, yeah.
And many others. I think Narcotics Anonymous the last couple of years have had a public information booth,
I
haven't
believe
they?
that they will be here. There, Lynn County Drug and Alcohol
County
will
Drug
be
and
there.
Alcohol.
Yeah, there'll be a lot. We have about 40 different tables that will
Right.
be
Yeah.
set at 40 different
About to
community
say,
partners.
There's a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah,
I
lots
am
of
really,
information.
I'm really happy to see NA there because it's taken a while to get them to come. I wish AA would plug in a little bit more. And this brings me to this part of this topic of taking it to the streets, the park, and the community. Is sometimes there's a disconnect between the 12-step fellowships and each other.
Yes, that's true.
We don't want to be affiliated. We claim no affiliation. We even have a disclaimer on the beginning of the show, right? We claim no affiliation. If we're AA, we're not affiliated with any related facility or outside enterprise. That's a smart take on it. That's one of the traditions, and it's important. But you're not breaking a tradition by sharing your story. You're not breaking a tradition by attending a function where other 12-step fellowships or recovery fellowships are attending as well. Come on, join the communady.
Yeah,
right?
partner. It's a great event.
So my prayer, and I've been praying for it for a lot of years, is that AA would show up with a public information booth. And so, maybe that'll happen. I hope that does that. But that brings me to this point. Cindy, have you felt this disconnect between the church and the recovery community before? Do you think it's getting better, or do you think we're still struggling?
I think it's getting better, but yes, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
I think, I think it always is. We tend to be our own little entities doing our own little things. But I think the importance of coming together, and this is an event that's trying to bring people together community wide. You do not have to be affiliated with a church. You do not have to be part of Celebrate Recovery. Lots of people hopefully will just come, if we can spread the word. So I think working together is so smart. We can do so much more together than we can on our own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Pastor D, what about you? Have you felt a disconnect with the recovery community in the church? Do you think it's getting better, or do you think we're still in trouble?
Well, I've seen a lot of churches become more aware. And I think in a lot of places like mental health, addiction, which there's a lot of connection with those two things in large part, too. Like sometimes which came first, right? But I think in large part the church is starting to recognize that. How can I say this? I think like when I was younger, it was always associated with either one, a lack of faith, or two, maybe demonic things, which we could get into a great conversation about that. And there's some truth to all that. But there's also truth to that if somebody's constantly spreading gossip and maligning people, right?
Right.
There's spiritual warfare, all those things. But I think in large part, I'm seeing the church realize, like, again, this idea that we all have our issues, and some of those things take a bigger role in our life. Maybe they cost more.
Right.
But I'm starting to see more of that within the majority of folks that I talk to that are in churches. I do still think there's a great struggle with being like, hey, we're all in this in the same way, because I do believe that there's always the propensity for humans. I don't think that has to be in the church or not. I mean, it's to think that, my sin or my issues are manageable, but yours are deplorable, is kind of what we all have to battle within ourselves.
Definitely, yeah.
And so, and that being said, I mean, that's going to be an issue. But I do think the church has grown in its ability to not feel like this is something that they can't touch or be a part of.
Yeah. I think, and see what you guys think about this, I think one of the problems that we have is we focus on the symptom more than we do the causes and conditions.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is certain outward manifestations of addiction, whether it's behavioral addictions, like pornography, or overspending,
Yeah.
or gossip,
Yeah.
or whether it's chemical dependency addictions like narcotics or alcohol, right? That the outward manifestation of those things screams louder than the outward manifestation of, well, maybe I just eat too much chocolate, or maybe I've been fudging on my tithing, or I'm just not real honest in my men's accountability group to the degree I could be. In other words, you're lying.
Yeah.
Right.
But those things don't scream real loud, and so we don't get all judgy about that. We go, oh yeah, well, I fudge on that too, that kind of thing. But these things, I mean, it's kind of like come as you are, right? Jesus says, come as you are. And so we come. But once you're there and once you've accepted Christ, now if you get out of line, now we got a problem. You know what I mean? And then we have the disconnect again.
Yeah.
I know of congregations that are very clear that it's us and you. It's those folks. It's the addicts and alcoholics that meet in that room or across town or whatever. But how do we know that there aren't untreated addicts, alcoholics, overspenders, gossipers in the church already?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I mean, God's biggest rebuke of the Israelis, the descendants of Abraham in the Old Testament, was their complaining and their lack of gratitude. Which, I mean, if we understand anything about recovery, gratitude's got to be a big part of that. It's going to help balance out the way my brain's thinking, and this idea of thinking through the things I'm grateful for helps me to have this excitement and this positivity about a day, and understanding that if we believe there is a creator, singular, sovereign God over all things, then all the good things the Bible tells us that we have in our life come from him. So constantly displaying gratitude just simply for the fact that God's not allowed me to be done yet, that he's given me all these things. If I just want to be very tangible and not even think spiritually, gratitude is something that God really demands of people. And really when I'm not being grateful, then I start going into this other spiral. And then maybe that makes me want to medicate and escape more. Maybe it makes me feel more anxious. Maybe it makes me, And so I think that there's a lot of that in the church. There's a lot of that within each one of us, right?
Sure.
Complaining. Yeah. And so that's something that if churches really got down and dirty and said, okay, we're going to treat all things equal, right? Sexual addiction, dysfunction, alcoholism, whatever. Gossiping, complaining, grumbling, not being thankful. Because the Bible puts those lists together, like Paul does those a lot, right?
Right.
And you'd have like sorcery and sexual immorality, right? And then like not obeying your parents. It's all in one list.
It's all in one list.
It's all in one list.
It's all in one
So
list.
it's like, hey, like that's the problem, right? Like deep inside, we don't trust God with all things, and we're not thankful to him the way that we should be.
For all things, yeah.
And so the church should be the one place where everybody goes, man, we all got some really serious stuff that we're contending with.
Yeah.
Right.
We just don't really trust God enough. That's our biggest symptom. That's that's the core root, right, of sin. Is that I think there's something about something better out there.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to really go to God with that. I'm not going to thank him for that. I'm going to try to find it elsewhere. And then it manifests itself, like you said, and all these other things.
All this stuff. Yeah.
You know, one of the things that the founders of AA were adamant about, which isn't a popular thing today within the 12-step rooms, is that we can and do recover. We can and do recover. In the early literature of AA, this is the story of 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. Right? They've recovered. In fact, later on in the AA Big Book, it says the problem doesn't exist for us. The obsession to drink has been removed. Right? And this is as a result of a spiritual awakening, as a result of the steps, right? Well, you can't have a spiritual awakening as a result of steps you haven't done. So quit trying to have the obsession removed just by showing up and drinking coffee. Because that ain't going to do it. That ain't going to cut it. But Narcotics Anonymous has a really cool saying about once an addict, always an addict will no longer be tolerated by society or even the addict themselves. The lie is dead. We do recover. We do recover. We don't have a problem when we say that I got food poisoning at the restaurant. We recover from that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're not going to eat bad shrimp again, but we recovered from it. I recovered from my allergic reaction to the peanuts, right? I've recovered from it. Am I still allergic to peanuts? You betcha. But I've recovered from it, right? And we live in this state of, well, I'm always going to be sick. I'm always going to be sick. Yeah. And I think a lot of those people in the church get a little tired of hearing that. And so then there's a disconnect, So I think those of us in the recovery community, we need to start realizing, there's a difference between recovered and cured. Cured means the illness is completely gone. Recovered means the symptoms are gone.
Yeah.
I'm not stealing from mama's purse anymore. I'm not disappearing for months at a time. I'm not doing, the symptoms are gone. I've recovered. Right.
Right.
Yeah. And I think we need to start declaring that more if we actually have, and helping people to get to that place who haven't. When I hear there's a guy I know, bless his heart, I've known him for a long time, and he introduces himself as a guy who will always be recovering. And you know what? I believe him. I believe him because he hasn't had that spiritual awakening. I was walking around asleep thinking I was awake until God got a hold of me and said, wake up. Okay, Recovery in the Park, Tuesday. That's tomorrow, right? The 22nd of July from 5 to 8:30 p.m. at Bryant Park, Albany, Oregon. Come on down, talk to us. I'm going to be kind of, I'm not going to have a booth this year. The first year, I'm not going to have a booth. I'm going to hang out if I can, I'm going to hang out with the Celebrate Recovery folks and with Neil and something. Is I'm having carpal tunnel surgery on my left hand, so it'll be that morning, and so I'll be walking around with my hand bandaged up and feeling kind of poopy.
Yeah.
But I'll be there. So come on down and talk to us, meet us all, and just have a really, really good time. Okay, so some closing thoughts here. Cindy, you first.
Okay.
What would you say to the skeptic out there that says, I just don't know that Christians get us folks in recovery? What would you say to them?
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think a lot of Christians get folks in recovery. Some may not. That's true.
Right.
But everybody has their issues. We've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God.
Amen.
All of us. So I think the idea tomorrow is come wherever you're at. You don't have to be in recovery. You don't have to be seeking recovery. Come and talk to some different people. Find out what's going on.
Yeah.
And understand that recovery can be super fun.
Yeah.
Really fun. We have a great time. And whatever's going on in your life, the Lord can make it better.
Yeah.
You know, wherever you're at, we want to meet you. Christ wants to meet you. Come join us. It's going to be a blast
Good
tomorrow.
word. Good word.
Thank you.
Neil, same question. How do we help with this disconnect? That you know, are we doing it already?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think one of the things, like, you know, is everybody in the church going to get you if you're in recovery? No. But not everybody, you know, at Fred Meyer is going to get you. But you go to Fred Meyer, right? Like, or you know, Walmart. You fill in your store there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true of any place. Like, even if I have been in so many recovery meetings and realized that there's people in there, they understand one another's struggle, but they don't really understand one another. They don't necessarily know each other that well, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can say that for any group I've ever been a part of. There's a group of people that I might really connect with. There's a group of people I may not.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's life. And so part of like learning to grow in life is just go ahead and put it out there. Be honest, tell the truth, and, you know, trust God, even if right now you're not quite sure who that is. Like, if you're saying, like, I think there's a higher power, still trying to nail that down. Like, well, then can we trust that He is capable of helping you navigate through the different rooms and different places where you might go and find help in recovery? You know, I mean, that's one of the things that I had a friend that was a longtime AA guy in Alabama. And he said, you know, before I really found Jesus, he goes, I was sober from alcohol, but he goes, he was kind of dry drunk. He goes, I was kind of changing one addiction for another all the time, mostly ladies. And he's like, it was the gospel of Jesus that started helping him understand, like, hey, bro, there's a deeper issue in that your heart's an idol factory. Yes, you can be sober and stay sober and still find another thing to find your identity in. And so that was kind of where he started learning, you know, hey, but his biggest concern was that when he showed up at church, that people were going to know his name and be like, oh my gosh. And then he realized that, yeah, there may be some that were, but there were some of us that weren't. Right. And so like, hey, he made a new set of friends. Yeah. And slowly he actually started going to church. It was a process, but it was, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Right on. Right on. That's good
and
stuff.
I think along those lines, I got sober in AA, but until I found Jesus and worked the steps through Celebrate Recovery, my life didn't change. So, yeah. I think it's a big difference.
Yeah. And if you're listeners, if you're looking for a meeting that's specifically Christ-centered within AA, they have them. They're out there. Don't give up. Then of course there's Celebrate Recovery, which was definitely Christ-centered. A lot of folks from AA and NA and CA and whatever A have found comfort being able to come there because they can freely and openly talk about Christ. Absolutely. I know of an AA meeting in Lebanon, Oregon, where God expresses Himself in the group conscience as Jesus, and there are unbelievers that come and they don't have a problem with it. because of the way that the Christians that are there, because of how kind they are to those who come that are unbelievers. And that's amazing stuff. So, all right. So we have a closing song. I decided to go the route of comedic. This might be, some of you might not appreciate this song very much. I think you guys will. Before we hear it, once again, tomorrow, Tuesday, the 22nd, Bryant Park, 5 o'clock to 8:30 p.m. Come down to Recovery in the Park. We're taking recovery to the streets, to the park, and to our community. And that's all of us. That's all of us. Everybody's got something where the tail is wagging the dog. You better believe it. And we don't have to do it by ourselves. So come on down. And then an encouragement for those of you, September is National Recovery Month. Mm-hmm. There are Hands Across the Bridge ceremonies going on all over the country. Get involved. Show up. Mm-hmm. Go to your recovery barbecues. Go to your church barbecues. Go to these activities. Be part of some. My mother couldn't stand it when she say this, but she was right. You want a friend? Be a friend. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? Just don't hang out in the back going, nobody wants to talk to me. You gotta plug in. All right. So here's our closing song. Bear with me on this. It's called "You Don't Smell Like Flowers Anymore." Check it out.
You don't take a shower. You don't put the seat down.
You hardly cook for me anymore. When I come home from the bar where I spend half the day.
And I remember when your manners didn't bug me. You used to aim when you'd pee. Now after Franken beans late at night,
Well, I can't hold it in, so I just let it fly. And it stings like a meadow full of
steaming cow pies. You could say, excuse me.
You could turn the fan on. You don't
Smell like flowers anymore.
Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Band along with the rest of the Take 12 Recovery Radio family, and we are wishing God's perfect serenity for each and every one of you.
Don't let the weights of the past keep you down. There's a melody here to turn it around. In each story and song you'll find a friend, a chorus of courage that'll never end.
This has been a broadcast of Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Kitty, 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 kitty.
This has been a Chicken and a Pig production.